episode than whatever yesterday was. Yesterday was like could help you fall asleep if you have insomnia, I think. Maybe that's what they were going for, even though they're airing in the afternoon. Judging by the spoilers, I just try and skim them and not remember them. But I think we got Vanessa and Joey argument today, maybe. Hopefully, not Vanessa, Nicole and Joey argument today. Hopefully, Nicole won't take the high road. Per usual. I mean, why take the high road with Joey? Not that anyone's here right now, but I will also be taking my notes. So apologies if you hear my typing. Sometimes I remember to put my microphone down. Sometimes I don't. I also want to say for anyone who ends up watching this, I was listening to heavy metal 10 minutes before this episode, trying to hype myself up to be able to watch this episode. Because after yesterday, I need all the energy I can to try and stay awake today. But today's preview didn't sound as sleep inducing as yesterday's sounded. I knew there was no way I was going to be able to do a watch along yesterday. I also want to say that I watch on Paramount Plus Live, and it's usually a minute behind anyone watching on CBS, unfortunately. All right, let's see who we're starting with. Martin and Vernon. And they're drinking. Wish I had some beer to watch this episode. I just watched the guy who plays Martin Brandon on Soapy early this morning. That podcast. He was good. Brought some personality, kind of more of that personality. All these bills on today. Yeah, Tomas don't need no extra work because I don't want to see him. But we're gonna see him, aren't we? Yeah, Haley and Tomas. Let me take some notes. Also, was she putting poison in Bill's coffee just right there in public? Ugh, we really need trash again. I knew she was on a lot this week. I think we're going to see trash almost every day this week, which is disgusting. Let's see if Nicole actually brings it or takes the highway road. You know, not my favorite opening, but we'll see how it goes. Let me take some notes. Also, for the 2 or 3 people watching, let me know what you're thinking about today's episode. What's up, Kaiwan? You're a little late. Well, you didn't miss anything if you were late to the episode. Other than Haley poisoning Bill in public. I guess at least the Bill and Haley storyline is kind of on today, but, without Lynette, it's kind of a bummer. It's kind of, kinda gonna need it to start wrapping up. Back to all these drug commercials, like always. Drugs are keeping soap operas on the air. And then with all these drug commercials, you gotta hear about all the things that could happen to you with bad side effects if you take it. Still on commercial. Kai once said, "Yeah, like I said last week, I miss the ideas of the '90s when it was that good, damn good fun." Yeah, it was, better in the '90s and the '80s, I fear. Alright, it's back on live on Paramount Plus. I wish Vanessa would get bitchy with Danny because I would like to see if Danny takes the high road like her sister. One says, "Trash is telling the story I missed yesterday's a little bit." You missed absolutely nothing yesterday. You missed Trash trying to befriend Leslie for why nobody knows. Trash was with Leslie yesterday, Kaiwan. Oh my god. It's just a broken record with Vanessa. And yet we're gonna have to watch her all week. Gonna put who with Bill, Kaiwan? Oh my god, even this Nicole and Joey conversation is allergic to drama when it should be Nicole more annoyed than she is. Kaiwan says Joey's been reduced to a stereotype. Are you supposed to be the Al Capone this universe? They act like he is, but he's really just Grandpa Gangster. We never actually see him in action. One time he got upset with Doug. That was the only kind of action we ever really saw from Joey. And that's why I call him Grandpa Gangster. I had someone upset who watched my last watch along on Friday, mad that I called Joey Grandpa Gangster because I guess that's ageist. But he's pushing 70 and supposed to be some badass gangster, and he's not. Yeah, K1, I don't know why they don't have kids for Joey. We've just learned about an ex and a sister. I would be more interested than an ex than his sister, depending on who they cast as Joey's ex. I don't think Martin looks like Joey enough to be Joey's son, K1. I mean, they're bringing up Martin's past a lot again. I wish I could say I was more interested in Martin and Vernon today, but nothing, nothing great so far in this episode. Not as boring as yesterday's yet, but barely a step above yesterday so far. Because even Nicole and Joey's conversation has been boring. Kaiwan says, "This is strange why they don't put politics in Martin's story, because if you can say, oh, if we get this popular candidate that's a conservative, that'll be bad for us if they need a more common sense." I think they are shying away from putting politics in the show, which I'm fine with. On the Soapy podcast, Brandon, who plays Martin, was on today, and he said Martin is a basically centrist liberal, which I guess makes sense. I mean, they were teasing that Bill might run for office against Martin. We'll see if that actually ends up being the case or not. I'm going to take a few notes, going to turn down my volume for a second until the show is back. I mean, yeah, Kaiwan, I think Bill is kind of who they have in mind to run against Martin. What up, Devin? How are you? How's work? If you're at work. But if they do Bill versus Martin or anyone versus Martin running, I don't think it's going to get super political. Still not back on Paramount Plus. I think it's finally back. We got breaking news. Oh, just kidding. It looked like we had breaking news. Hopefully, they won't interrupt the episode with news. Not that it's the most compelling episode. Honestly, Caroline, whatever we call her, is another character that's not a big character, but is more interesting to me than most people in this episode. We'll love more of a backstory. Devin says, I hate when I record the episode and then it's like a Trump speech. Yeah, that's the worst days because then I have to wait to watch it late and then try and record a review still. Devin says, now that we have 2 more years, I hope we get more stories with these outsider characters. Me too, because there's a lot more interesting outsider characters than Tomas, for instance, yapping to Haley right now. Kaiwan says Bill acts like a flunky when he's supposed to be a big boss. I think their writing for Bill could be better. It's one thing to write him dumb all the time, but then it starts to seep into the rest of the character. Oh, they need to do something here. This is another boring episode. Back to back. Kat thinks Devin's gonna sleep with Isaiah, and then dumbass, will get to the other lawyer job and be gone for a while, I hope. Tomas needs to be gone for a very long while. A permanent while would be best. But I don't know if I want Kat to sleep with Isaiah either, because then it's just another love triangle for Kat and Eva, when that's what, in my opinion, hurt the Kat and Eva rivalry in the first place. Although it hurt because it was Tomas. Devin says, Kat can think that all she wants, but I'm not going to sleep with Isaiah. I don't know what you're saying, Devin. Oh, did I? Sorry. I guess you're not going to sleep with Isaiah, Devin. My bad. I would normally take a few notes on a commercial, but I don't even know what notes to take with today's episode. It's similar to yesterday's so far. Well, let's see what Twitter is saying about today's episode. I like to check them about midway through the episode. A lot of people frustrated with Martin, that Martin seems to want to just do time for giving up his secret. Though Martin's kind of always been that way about this secret of his. People on Twitter questioning if Tomas saw Haley poisoning Bill. I mean, he should have. Somebody should have, seeing as she was doing it right in public. All these mentions of Lynette, but she's nowhere to be found. Sad. Devin said, still annoyed Martin called Brian by his nickname that everyone calls him instead of his own nickname. That's kind of true. He should have more of a lovey dovey nickname. Kaiwan says, I hope that Tom gets the poison. Tomas, yes. Well, I hope he gets poisoned, if that's what you're saying, Kaiwan. Here go Bill trying to be Haley's therapist instead of realizing he needs his own where Haley is concerned. Oh my God. I need to start drinking during these lives. Every time Vanessa is trying to hype up Joey or make excuses for Joey, because I'd get drunk just on that alone. Unfortunately, I can't drink at 2 in the afternoon. Devin says Smitty's like a nickname for his bros, in my opinion, not his lover. I agree with that. Kaiwan, I don't think that Bill still realizes that Haley is in on Lynette's scheming. Devin says I should have got high and had a watch along for yesterday's 420 episode. That would have helped the episode a lot more. Fortunately, I don't partake anymore. That would also help this episode, though. So if you're going to watch this episode later, Devin, make sure to be high. Kaiwan is straight edge. CM Punk is in the chat. Oh, you're coaching baseball practice? That's fun, Devin. Well, at least Nicole's finally giving Joey a stern warning. I mean, the threat by Nicole is a joke. You will answer to me, Joey, if you hurt Vanessa. I'm not afraid of you, please. I mean, I know you're the ice queen, Nicole, but oh, this is another rough episode, guys. I'm sorry, but it is struggling to get through. It's only halfway done. Taiwan says Nicole, the woman with all the political power in the world, is not going to look up things about Joey that she should know. I mean, You would think other higher ups on the show, wealthy people that care about Vanessa or that Joey is threatening, like Martin, Vernon, would be able to pull some strings to get Joey caught for something, you know. They've been in politics for so long that they can't catch this old grandpa gangster in something. Devin says, Nicole, he already hurt Vanasti's husband and you did nothing. Exactly. Not that they know this, but still, nonetheless. Kaiwan says, yeah, nobody's going to look at that. Vanessa's husband dies in a mysterious accident. No one ever says, hey, what the hell was the husband doing gambling? And now Vanessa's with the person who owns that. Yeah, Donnell thought about that for one whole second when Donnell first came along. And even though Deanna is pushing that a little bit, nobody focuses in on that, including Vanessa herself. Vanessa thought about that for 1 minute too when Doug first died, thinking, could Joe have had something to do with this? But I guess that old dick has her dickmatized. I don't know. The the glass half full person in me wants to think that maybe this week is so boring because we're close to May sweeps and stuff's gonna start moving fast. But November sweeps and February sweeps weren't exactly a thriller. Although February was much better than November. Yeah, February was the first 3 weeks of February. The first part of February was like the last time the show was actually really kind of good. But we're definitely stuck in a holding pattern right now because they only bring up Haley poisoning Bill when it's convenient, and yet she's never caught. Bill never shows signs of being poisoned. So what are we doing with the storyline? Kawan said people who really hated that the writer that they fired. Guza, I was questionable when I first heard Guza was a part of the writing team because he did things at General Hospital that I didn't love. But yeah, he's needed as co-head writer, not this Thompson lady. Devin said yesterday Vernon got Anita tea, and I was like, oh shit, not the tea. Good thing Haley wasn't around. All right, let me try and pay attention, see if anything important is said in this episode or not. Boring. I'm gonna add Nicole to my list of characters that aren't good TV at this point. Holes in Haley's story again. Will Bill ever think about it? Oh, so now when it's convenient for Haley to bring a baby. What will Bill think about this? Probably not. I don't care about Vanessa's scene, so I'll go to the chat. I'm not sure who you were talking about, Kaiwan there. Devin says, I will watch Nicole every time she's on my screen. I'd mute it if I need to. All right. Glad you're a big Nicole fan, Devin. At least watching her, maybe not listening to her. Kaiwan says, Haley is a bad kind of woman. She's giving me Susan Moore vibes, Jason and Drew's mother, 1980, 1979. I know Susan Moore from General Hospital. That's kind of old school for me. Are you thinking she's going to be murdered like Susan Moore, Kaiwan? Well, I said I wanted Caroline to have more scenes, but that didn't mean with Tomas. Oh my god, Tomas's acting is just it's in another world, that's for sure. It is otherworldly. I guess Tomas is going to be the one digging on that. Kaiwan says Susan Moore, Jason and Drew's mom. She was the mistress for some Alan. Yes. Kaiwan also says, I don't understand why Bill doesn't want to take Caroline out. Like have an affair with Caroline. I'm surprised they haven't in the past with how many people they say that Bill has slept with. Kaiwan says, I guess Tomas dates is over. Maybe he'll be like Susan Moore. Oh my God. That would be music to my ears. I think I said in the past that if Tomas is ever killed off, I will take one whole month over off taking I will take one whole month off talking shit about the writing on this show. I mean, the Martin and Vernon scenes are always cute, but I don't understand why they didn't just make Vernon Martin's dad. Devin said Chelsea's going to be leaving the show soon. Ronnie Rose, the woman who plays Chelsea, says she's done with BTG in 2026. I haven't heard that, but people have been saying that since last year, so could be a real rumor, could be a fake rumor. But until I see it on one of my trusted websites, I can't believe it. Although, they don't write for Chelsea, and when they do, her storylines are off screen. Well, so far, everybody, I would put this episode on par with yesterday's, not in a good way. Kaiwan says, I really wish they can go somewhere with Martin where he does something risky to still keep his Senate seat like they should do. They can do so much with Martin's storyline with what they should know. In on the Soapy podcast today, he did talk about how he wishes Martin was a little looser, maybe in something more controversial. But right now he's still stuck in this past storyline with Kenny's brother that he killed in self-defense. But they could go very many messy routes for Martin. Devin says that whole storyline was before my BTG time. I think it was right before your time. It happened in like the summer of 2026, 2025. I mean, I don't remember when he started, but it was like what, September-ish, August-ish? Kaiwan, I would only want them to make Martin's opponent gay or anti-gay if he was actually really gay, like some of those Republicans be. Kaiwan, no offense, but they out there attacking gay rights, and then they get found out having sex with men. Devin says, I don't know, sometime after Big Brother, you convinced me. It was probably September then, which is like right after that old co-head writer was leaving. So you kind of missed the best stories, Devin, I fear. Kaiwan says the most boring couple in all of soaps right now. Either Geo. This is just the worst, one of the worst things on all of soaps. And I think Young and the Restless and Days of Our Lives is terrible right now. But Vanessa and Joey scenes might take the cake. Devin says, is General Hospital better than BTG? I've seen you're making those recaps too. Right now, yes. But it still has its boring days too. Also, Kaiwan, even though Gio and Emma are boring on General Hospital, Molly and Cody are the most boring couple on that show by far. So this episode is just the let's all try and trust Joey episode. Let's all try and trust the grandpa gangster of the show. I can't believe Nicole really thinks that she just put Joey on notice. You're talking about the Bold and the Beautiful, Devin, actually. That's what comes on before this. Well, somebody met with the PI from the firm. I don't know why it's Tomas. Sorry, I'm going to take notes and then I'll return to the chat since finally something actually happened in this episode. This would actually be better scenes if Bill would start gaining a brain. Let me return to the chat. Kaiwan says, all this loving Joey crap, it reminds me of the fact of General Hospital. Everybody got like Sunny. Everybody has to like Sunny on General Hospital. That does get old with me too. This is even worse because at least Sunny, once upon a time, we got to see him be younger. We got to see him have these romances in the 90s. We got to see him kind of actually rise through the ranks of being a mobster. With Joey, he's just Grandpa Gangster to me. Like, he's supposed to be this big bad gangster, but I don't see it. Devin says, yes, I think about a fashion magazine. I don't know really. Bold and the Beautiful, they do like fashion companies. It has its moments, but it's very repetitive soap opera. Although at least, more dramatic than Beyond the Gates right now. Kaiwan says Bill is clearly only in love with Danny. He probably just wanted to sleep with her a couple of times. Bill does love Danny, but also just, I don't know. They have a weird toxic relationship where they can't seem to get past each other. And once Danny got married to Andre, suddenly Bill's so interested again. Kaiwan says the backstory of Bill doesn't make sense to me that he would even fall for Haley because the backstory seems like he's always the one in control. Well, his other backstory is though that he was constantly cheating on Danny, so Haley was just another mistress. I can't believe Tomas is probably going to be my thumbnail for the day. That's what this show has come to. Devin says, it's been a constant cheat his entire adult life. Why haven't we seen him cheat on Haley? Lynette would have been perfect. That's what would have made sense writing wise, but these head writers don't have good ideas, and I'm sick of people pretending like they do. Devin says, or Caroline. That could be, I guess, his next opportunity. Vernon gotta calm Martin down again. Kaiwan says, you know what? They need to make Leslie a better character. How about Leslie get somebody that's even more crazier than Leslie involved with her so that makes Leslie become a more good person? I'm down for that. Honestly, most of us have better ideas than these hit writers. They also love to tell us about things that we never see in their dialogue, which is long gotten old, which is what Danny's doing right now. Sounds good, Devin. Nicole trying to have dialogue to make the cat fans feel better by calling out Ted for spending so much time with Eva and not his other children. Oh my god, we're just gonna have Joey and Vanessa kisses all week. I think Michelle Valjean really thinks this is their hot couple show, which is absolutely crazy. Grandpa Gangster and Trash stinking up the joint. Yeah, Haley can play Bill in her sleep. She's not wrong about that. I'll get to the chat when this episode ends. I mean, I don't know what Bill's supposed to catch by that statement. Another boring episode. Glad it's over. Let's go to the chat real quick before I go. Kaiwan wants them to make the music producer be Bill's father. I don't know about that, but I kind of, at one point, I wanted the music producer to come as a villain, but this show doesn't treat their villains great. Like they let their villains get away with too much for too long. Kaiwan says, "Yeah, trash. Did your husband die? Like I don't know, 3 months ago while you're with this guy? Yeah, that's why I call trash trash. Kaiwan says, let's see. Devin says the actress that plays Ashley said on IG, her and Grayson didn't really kiss yesterday. She had a cold, so they moved the camera quickly to make it look like they kissed. The tricks of TV. Lulu, what up, Lulu? Says, dang, Bill onto her ass. Well, it's about damn time. Devin says, we got to meet Ted's and Andre's father or other brother sometime too. Well, I think he's supposed to be dead, but I mean, he could always come back from the dead, I suppose. All right. One more comment. Kaiwan said, I always feel like they don't have any reason for the villains to affect the main characters. Like the villains never affect the main characters in any meaningful way. They have stopped affecting the main characters, especially Leslie probably being the worst one. Yeah, all of the it's a mess. I'll talk about it in my review later. Gonna go get ready to do that. So I will post a review later. I will probably do this again tomorrow because this kind of helps me get through these not so great videos. As Book Diva said, shout out to Book Diva. Please like the video. I agree. And I'll be back with my review later. At least tomorrow, I think we get to, well, Grayson will be stabbed. I don't know if we'll get to see Grayson be stabbed. That's the $1 million question for tomorrow's episode.